Okay, I just want to say thank you so much to all the support that I got from my last video that I just shared about my IVF in Bulgaria. If you haven't seen that video, I'll pop the link up here now, somewhere around here. You might want to go watch that video first, as it will kind of explain a little bit as to why I am here where I am now. So I'll talk about this video. I want to talk about the tests that I had, the surgery that I had first, and then the secondary surgery that I had to find out for another thing. So what happened was I didn't explain everything. I'm okay to talk about it now, but back when I had this surgery, I was pretty heartbroken. Okay, what are we in now? So we've just had the new year. So not last year, but the year before, in October, I had a laparoscopy and a hysteroscopy. Now, I never said this part in my Bulgaria video, but I did have a fallopian tube removed. The laparoscopy goes through your stomach, they make incisions. The hysteroscopy, I think they go up through and then they check all of your tubes. Now, okay, so what I had done in that surgery, I was pretty sore afterwards, I will say, and you get this, I think when you're in the surgery, they fill your body up with gas, and I don't know, who knows what they do to you, but I had this really bad gas pain, and it they call it shoulder tip pain, comes up underneath your ribs and up to your shoulder. Anyway, that lasted for 2 weeks. My scars have healed up really well, to be honest. Like, you can barely see them. When I do photo shoots, like, I don't even Photoshop the scars out or anything. So that's a positive for anyone that has to do a laparoscopy and hysteroscopy. So my uterus had a slight subseptate. Okay, so I'll try to put up a picture if I can find one, or I'll draw one and put it up. So a subseptate uterus is when the top of, so this is what most people's uterus, okay, imagine it's more like a triangle. Okay, now a septate is when the top of the uterus dips down and kind of has a dip, it looks like a heart. I love you guys too. Yeah, so mine was slight. Now it did dip down a little bit. Now in that surgery, they removed that. So they took that away. I don't know how they do it, but they take that away to open it up to give the uterus more space, because they say that it can cause miscarriage. And I've had the 2 miscarriages before. Okay, so in my surgery, they didn't find, thank goodness, and my heart goes out to anyone struggling with this, but I don't have any endometriosis. They did find, I think there was a cyst in one of my ovaries, but a lot of women have cysts in their ovaries that they actually break down on their own with cycles. Okay, what else? So yeah, so the fallopian tube, so that was really, really heartbreaking when I found out they were going to take that out. I had something called hydrosalpinx. I think I'm saying it right. Now, that's when there was fluid in my tube, and I was like, can't you just drain it? And she was like, no, we just take it out. And anyway, that was at the Royal Women's Hospital, and I was like devastated. But yeah, so both my ovaries were in good, they said they were in good shape. But yeah, so the tube, and the reason why I had the fluid in my tube, they don't know why. I believe, they say when people have fluid in their tube, it can be from a previous infection. I've never had a previous infection. I've always had everything tested, all my blood's done. I believe the 2 times I had my miscarriages, I was away, but my second miscarriage, I was in the Maldives, and I remember, like, I had positive pregnancy tests, which nobody tells you about this. After you miscarry, you actually have a positive pregnancy test I did for 3 weeks after my miscarriage. So, and I never got scans. I think I did get some follow-up bloods, or I didn't get to. I'm trying to remember. But they had to check that the pregnancy hormone was dropping, because it could have been in my tube. Anyway, I do believe one of my miscarriages could have caused the fluid in my tube. So I don't have a right fallopian tube. I wasn't okay to talk about this. Went back when it happened, like I was beside myself, but I'm okay to talk about it now. Okay, so after that surgery, I discovered they did, besides getting the tube taken out, but you can still fall pregnant naturally with one fallopian tube. And so basically, I kind of got no answers from that. Then I went to Bulgaria and I proceeded to have my IVF. Okay, after that IVF didn't work, that cycle didn't work, I came back to Melbourne and I was about to fly back to do another frozen embryo transfer in, I think it was April, but all the flights had cut off, so I wasn't able to go and do that flight and go do that. So in the meantime, I'd had another chemical pregnancy. A chemical pregnancy, a lot of women have probably had them, but if you're not testing like a crazy person like me or someone going through infertility for so long, you wouldn't know. So a chemical pregnancy is when it's your period, so it's like your body tries to get pregnant, but then it doesn't quite implant, and you still have some pregnancy hormones in your body. I should probably Google this. I'm probably not explaining it right, but actually I've got something else on Google that I want to explain, so I'll leave that there. You might, for anyone that has had a chemical pregnancy, your period might be like 5 days late, and then when you do get your period, it ends up being really heavy and painful. Anyway, so I knew I had a chemical pregnancy because I had like faint lines on my test. Anyway, so massively like messes with your head because you start to get excited and then you get your period. After that, my cycles have always been like clockwork all my life. I have not missed a period except for the miscarriages since I was 12 years old. So I'm 37 now, so that's a lot of periods, okay? So it threw off one of my cycles and made it shorter. If your cycle is too short, it's not enough time for your luteal phase and your phase, like for ovulation. So basically, story short, I've got to keep this moving. You want to have a regular cycle. Always had regular cycles, but I believe it was the chemical pregnancy that threw my cycle off. So because I couldn't get on the plane and go anywhere, I went to go see this Chinese medicine doctor. Now she was really great. She was expensive, but she was really great. I told her about my whole history, everything. She gave me some drops and some tablets, and like clockwork, my period came on day 28. Then she sent me for a whole heap of blood work, everything. And once again, everything came back normal, which is like, that's what's always happened with me. Everything just comes back normal. And so I saw her. Now, this was on the cards. This is the leading up to the second surgery that I had that I'm about to tell you about. Now, this thing I'm about to tell you about is the thing I was talking about as to why I've had so much trouble trying to get pregnant, and as to why I know my last cycle, that cycle in Bulgaria, didn't work. Okay, so there's a test which she said to me, okay, so the problem with this test, I'll just say it. So they're called natural killer cells. Now, this is not recognized by the public system. And I knew about these natural killer cells, okay? So everyone has natural killer cells in their body which help your body to fight off infection. But some women have elevated killer cells. And then therefore, I've got the thing here on, because I didn't want to say the wrong thing. So I've got it here from Google. Off Google, I've typed in elevated natural killer cells. It says, they help the body fight off tumours and destroy cells that are infected by viruses as well as cancer cells, which is awesome. Really great, right? Because of elevated natural killer cells levels in women with recurrent miscarriages, some researchers believe that natural killer cells may also be responsible for a woman's body terminating a pregnancy. Okay, so this was the only thing that I hadn't been tested for. So it needed to be done. Now, I never did this test because I did opt for it when I went to the Royal Women's for my laparoscopy, and I asked them, can you do a biopsy for the killer cells? And they didn't believe in it there. They said, we don't believe in it. There's not enough research. The doctors were like, it's not a real thing. Like, it's not. Anyway, all the different specialists, I tried asking them if they could, and they're all like, nah, I don't believe in it. It's ridiculous. yeah, so nobody there was going to treat me for it or give me anything for it. They wouldn't even test. They said, we won't do this under this surgery because it costs us too much. Anyway, so the reason why I hadn't done that test also, because I also thought, oh, surely I can't have that as well. That test had to be done all out of pocket. So that cost me, basically backtracking, when all my bloods came back normal, the Chinese medicine doctor said she was great, and you know, a specialist that doesn't make you keep coming back, that looks for answers, that's a good specialist. Someone that tells you, like, all right, that, you know, they don't want you to just keep spending your money. She said, your periods are all fine, all your hormone levels are fine, your thyroid function, everything's fine. She goes, you're going to have to go get this test done. She goes, I know it's a lot of money, but if you don't do it, you could be doing cycle after, literally cycle after cycle on IVF, and it's never going to work. And I was like, okay. So then I made the calls. I knew there was a specialist. Well, she put me in touch with this specialist. I got a referral. Anyway, so 2 weeks later, I got that surgery for the natural killer cells. It was, being not through the public system, because it was private and I was all out of pocket, it was actually quite quick, which is good. Now, I wish I had this done years ago. Ladies, like, if you are someone, not even people that are doing IVF, but if you are someone that's been trying to conceive naturally for like years and years, and everything else is fine, and you don't have other things going on, and you've had other things tested, and it's like unexplained infertility, I say, instead of like doing your own head in and putting yourself through years of heartache, get that test done. You do have to find a specialist that does believe in it though. There's only a few people in Melbourne that will treat you for it. I know there's people in Sydney, pretty sure there's someone in Brisbane. I haven't looked at the other side of Australia. Okay, so it did come back that I have elevated natural killer cells. My body makes embryos. I'm ovulating fine. On my ovulation tests, I get peak on my ovulation tests. Yeah, like everything's like clockwork. But any embryos that I make, my body is seeing it as a foreign object and destroying it. So all these years that I've been trying to conceive naturally, it just hasn't been happening. Even if the person I was with, their levels and everything and their count was okay, and my body is working, it's like my body is trying to, and that's why I think I've had about five chemical pregnancies where your body is trying to get pregnant, but then your body just won't let that implantation of the embryo happen, and it basically just attacks it and destroys it, sees it as a foreign body. So this test, guys, like I'm telling you from someone, it's just my opinion, and everything that I forgot to say as the disclaimer at the beginning, everything I'm saying is just what I've been through. My opinion to anyone going through this, like if I could look back to myself, I'd say I wish I did this years ago instead of putting myself through years and years of the infertility when it was the natural killer cells. So now the story goes that for me to fall pregnant naturally or with IVF, I need to have intralipid infusions. So the intralipid infusions, from my understanding, is what I've been told is the thing that they put in through your veins. It coats the cells, the killer cells, that it's like this fat solution that they put in. Now I have had a couple of these infusions already. I will have to keep getting more. The intralipid infusions, so basically for me to get pregnant, I have to suppress my immune system, which is kind of ridiculous. So I do have a good immune system, but it's too overactive. So when I went, there's other things that other specialists will do is they'll put you on a steroid tablet. The steroid tablet, I know it sounds like, oh, you get really strong. No, there's other forms of steroids. So this steroid tablet actually like lowers down the part of the immune system that will stop attacking the embryo. So when I was overseas for Bulgaria, they gave me a tablet, which I know that they have it here. I think it's called prednisolone. And I was on that tablet. as well as like Clexane injections, which is like a blood thinner, which is for people that have had the recurrent miscarriages. But I just don't think that the steroid tablet, the prednisolone, is strong enough for me. Some people need more, which I think I definitely will need the intralipid infusions. So that's it, guys. Yeah, I think you got to do your research, because it depends. I've heard and I know firsthand that there's a lot of it's really frustrating, but a lot of specialists, they wait till people have had, 3, 4, 5 failed IVF attempts, and then they go, oh, maybe let's look into this. It's like, no, let's look into the stuff at the beginning. Let's rule everything out first, because you know what? Once you've done 5 cycles of IVF, like, you got no money left. Like, it's cruel. There's people, some people are fortunate, they've got people helping them out and whatever. Some of us are putting it on our home loan. You know what I mean? Like, it's a pretty tough situation. But yeah, so I just think it's something that I wouldn't spend the money on and do it if you weren't struggling. But for people that have been struggling for years with unexplained infertility, yeah, really look into natural killer cell testing. It is a lot of money, but just get it done. I just wish I did it so long ago. All right, guys. The next video I'm going to do is about all the vitamins that I take for my egg health. I've been taking them for a while, so the next video, which I'll try to get up in about a week, will have all the different stuff that I take, not just egg health, but for ovulation. If you liked this, don't forget to like and subscribe and share with anyone that is going through these kind of problems. It might just help, or not just help, but maybe just let people know that they're not alone in this trying to conceive journey, for the people that have been struggling. All right, guys, hope you have a wonderful new year too. Bye.